This is the Book Deal Podcast, a podcast all about inspiring and motivating writers.
Where we interview seasoned and debut authors about their own writing, from the blank page to the book deal and beyond.
We hope these stories will help you to stay positive, focused, and carve your own path forward.
I'm Madeleine Cleary.
And I'm Tina Strong.
And this is the Book Deal Podcast. The Book Deal Podcast acknowledges the traditional owners of the land and waters which it's recorded on and pays respect to their elders past, present, and emerging.
Hi, Madeleine. How are you?
I'm great, Tina, because I've just spent a week in Bali, which has been lovely. And we've just spent the last 40 minutes catching up before we started this podcast. And we hit a point, didn't we, where we're like, oh, we need to start hitting record because we're getting into some interesting stuff.
We always, should just hit record as soon as we start chatting because that's the gold, the golden information we're sharing then, isn't it?
That's right.
Oh, so much to chat about.
So much to talk about. So should we maybe do some updates? You've got a few interesting, fun things.
I do, but I want to hear about you and Bali, and what I really want to know about Bali is I sense a common theme with yourself in that if you ever like on long travel, like a plane or a train, you seem to just write some stories. So tell me.
I thought you were going to say get a gastro.
Oh, well, that's just a given, isn't it, when you come back from Bali? But I want to hear, did the muses strike on your plane or car
the
trip?
muses. Yeah, I did bring my laptop with me, and so I should say we were traveling with my husband's family, and so there were lots of family time, which was also really fun. Lots of kids and pool time, which was great. But yeah, I did manage to carve away some time to do some writing, and I actually came back to Melbourne with less words than I started.
That sounds ridiculous, but that's still progress.
It's progress,
isn't
exactly.
It?
It's progress. So I'm up to 35,000 words. So I came back with less, but I think you've got to trust your gut, and I think my gut's getting better. Talking of gastro, I think I'm sensing now the story's direction is going a little bit off track. I can sense that earlier now, so I was able to pull back. So I deleted quite a bit and then redid it, and it just felt so much better. And it was just nice to sort of spend some time away, like get out of a normal environment. And I think that's why writers go on retreats, isn't it? Just to have that space. So no, it was really, really good. And I was also on the bus back to the airport chatting with my 8-year-old niece, Olivia. And yeah, we were just talking about stories and stuff like that. And then my 4-year-old niece, Chelsea, she woke up in her car seat. She turned to us and she said, I was dreaming about rainbow poo. So
hang on, can you clarify? As in rainbow coloured human poo or rainbows that poo?
She didn't clarify. She just said, had this wonderful dream about rainbow poo. And so Olivia and I thought that was hilarious. And so Olivia, I said, do you want to tell me a story about rainbow poo? She's like, I could see the muses striking her because she was like, this is so interesting. And so I said, go for it. Like, tell me a story. So we spent 45 minutes her telling me a story that she concocted based off the rainbow poo prompt. And I must say, it was incredible. I kept the only things I was saying to her, but then what happened? But then what happened? And she'd work well, and she would just launch into it. And it got me thinking as she was telling me the story, because it was actually a really beautifully told story with a beginning, middle, and end. And I said, make sure you have that. You've got to have the beginning, middle, end. And when she said, I think it's finished, I said, you haven't finished it though. There's still something that needs to wrap this up. And in the end, she did. It just got me thinking the creativity of children. We need to try and tap into that, because she completely plants the story on the spot in a hot van. We're all exhausted. She carved out that time, told this beautifully crafted story.
She's a natural storyteller by the sounds of it, isn't it? Because not everyone can do that. Yeah.
I think children have this imagination though, and I could see she was going off into the world, and I was actually transported into the world as well. And so whereas the rest of the family were hot and bothered in the van, we were on a forbidden island and going down hidden paths and going into fairyland and dream worlds. And And then in the end, we found the unicorn that belonged to the rainbow poo. So,
All right. Oh, that's really cool. That's amazing. She should write that down.
well, I've said to her that, and to all my nieces, if they write me a story, I'll pay them $20. And
Yeah,
her
nice.
eyes lit up. She said, I need a computer now. So she
Yeah.
said, Dad, can I buy a computer for Christmas so I can write Auntie Madeline a story?
Yeah, okay. You might end up broke. You
I know.
might.
I know.
That's a really good idea. I heard someone else saying that their parents used to pay them.
That's the
Um,
Moriarty sisters.
yes.
I
Yes.
remembered that
It's
their
a great
father did
idea.
it $5 a
Yes.
story, I think.
Yes.
So I added inflation because that
Yeah, of
was a
course.
while
Yeah.
ago. They were
Yeah.
children. So I thought, well, what's
Yeah.
a reasonable amount these days? So
So
yeah,
she'd probably be happy with $5,
she probably would have. When I said 20, her
Like
expression was like,
rich.
this is amazing. And then her sister piped up, I want to write another stories too. So I think I will be broke by the end
Did you
of
put
this.
a minimum word count on that?
I know I should. I said it has to be well crafted. We're going to have to work on the editing as well. It has to be a proper story,
Yeah.
not just like a couple of dot points. Like you have to
Yeah.
write the proper story. So at the
Yes.
airport, she said she wanted to buy pen and paper so she could
Yeah.
write it all down. So
Oh, wow.
um,
That's
anyway,
so
so
cool.
it's super, super cool.
Yeah.
It was nice to have that time, just watch creativity happen and I just remembered
Yes.
as a child the way you could go off into your
Mm,
imagination. It's
mm,
very similar to, I think, as an adult, how we write. And it's such a joy to go into another world, I think, and forget
yeah.
the busy Denpasar, how hot it is and everything. You can just go into this. Are your children
Yes.
creative, Tina?
Um, my 6-year-old, it remains to be seen yet, but there's still time. Um, but he's creative in like a probably more of a theatre type way or a comedian type way. And then my eldest, I think he is. I think he just needs a little bit more direction, but he so cute. He's so the manuscript that I'm working on at the moment, he read my first sample chapters because I knew it was something that would really appeal to him and that age
Mm.
group. And so I gave him to him, and he was like, I need to read more. Like, where's the rest of it? So he's
That's
super
so cool.
cool to the point that the current title that it is, which is probably going to change, his profiles, like his gaming name profile, is now the name of the book and
Oh.
the characters. And he started writing. He's like, I want to write. This was just the other night. He started writing a story, and it had very similar elements to what I'm writing.
Mm.
And it was so good. It was really deep, which is interesting because that's how I used to write too. Like, I think I still do. But yeah, it was really, really deep and really thoughtful. And I saw that he'd actually called it the same name as like my manuscript. So, like,
Oh.
what a sometimes your kids just, and he's quite quiet, so you don't get a lot out of him. So having that is like the best kind of feedback, that you can
That's
get
amazing,
to
Tina.
be like, yeah, an acknowledgement that, they do take notice of what you do, even though you're boring old mum. So that's really cool. And I really hope he harnesses that. But it's actually got me thinking about how much I enjoyed working with him on that. And because he's like, what do I do now? I need another chapter. And I'm like, well, you got to do this. And, here's the midpoint. You got to either have like the high, or it's got to be real low. And then they've got to go back up again or down. And loved sort of sharing that. And it made me start thinking
Mm.
about maybe working towards some like workshops for kids,
Yes.
which, yeah, I'd love to do. We were chatting in our non-recorded time just before about how I've been approaching some libraries, and I've got some potential children's book week um, bookings. So,
Hmm.
for those who don't know, or are in the adult writing world, Book Week is a massive thing now. It's really huge. It's when, all the kids are, they normally have like a Book Week parade where they all dress up as their
So
favorite
cute. I see
character.
all the photos of my nieces at Book Week. I love
Yes.
it.
Yes. I know. I've already thought of all the ideas that I'm going to make my kids wear to Book Week that's going to be from my book.
Oh, yes, of
I know.
course.
I'm
That's so
so
exciting.
excited. So excited. Whether they want to or not, they'll be wearing it. Um, and yeah, so going to some libraries and going to some schools. and just sort of talking about what I could present there in the way of workshops and things that would the kids might find interesting. And I think I'd really like to do that, some practical.
Mm,
And now I just keep thinking of all these ideas of what I could do just to yeah get the kids excited. And because I know I was writing when I was young too, and
mhm,
I would have really liked some more direction on that and someone to help you harness it and to take it seriously as well. Did
Did
you
you
write
ever
when
have any? Oh, no, you
I
go.
was just going to say, did you write when you were a kid, Madeline, or did that come
I
later?
did. No, I did. I wrote lots of stories, and
Hmm.
my mum would illustrate them. So I've still
Oh,
got a whole bunch of them
that's so
in my
cute.
cupboard in my special box. So yeah,
Yeah,
and then I
because for some
probably
people, it comes to
mm,
them later. Like they really sometimes don't even pick
yeah.
up a pen. Some people think about it forever and don't do it till later. But some people, yeah, everything, it just all happens later in life. But then some people like you and
Mm.
I then are just, yeah, we
Always
just
telling
naturally do
stories.
it. Hmm. Hmm.
But it's, I think what you said about getting that direction, I think is
Mm.
really important. And I think I was really lucky because my mum was a teacher, a primary school teacher, and then later on a librarian. So books were always something that were in our house. And I think she really, helped give that steer and
Mm.
sort of edited my work and made it look really nice and,
Mm.
official and everything. And that's really inspirational, I think, for kids. And I remember when authors came in, I still remember it very vividly when authors used to come and visit schools. It was really, it left such a massive impression, I think, and it was really inspiring. Did you have that experience?
Yeah, I remember that as well. I remember my mum taking me to the State Library of Queensland so many years ago to yeah to see one of the authors there, and yeah, I do remember that. But I yeah, I don't know if there was many like workshops and stuff though for
Mm,
kids to
mm.
help with writing. Is there was there back then? Like I mean I don't know. We were young. We probably didn't know, but um yeah. So I don't know what other help, but that was really good having your mum who was super
I
helpful, and
know.
my dad was super helpful too because he was a big reader and he did also love going through my writing and sort of editing it for me. But I have a I don't know if I've told you this before, but I have some stories from when I was younger, and Mum pulled them out recently. And there's a letter from my teacher and another teacher, English teacher, and I believe I was 11 at the time, and it was saying it was attached to one of the stories that I'd written when I was 11, saying, "This is really good. Do you mind if we go and seek publishing or speak to publishers about this?"
Oh, wow.
I know, and I'd
What
completely
an
forgotten
endorsement.
about it. I'd completely forgotten about it. And then Mum pulled it out the other day, and I was like, Mum, what did you say? Like, how come I
Yes.
don't know.
Why is this not published?
It didn't get published, so what happened? She's like, oh, I don't remember. I'm like, oh my God. Right. So it just took
Wait, is
another
it
30
publishable
years.
now? Can maybe this can be
It's
your
actually pretty good, I have to say. I think it's
11-year-old
pretty good
Tina?
for 11-year-old. And it's the same thing. It had the full beginning, middle, and an end, and
Hmm.
no one really taught me that. It's just some people, I think, are innate storytellers.
Well, maybe, but Tina, you also probably read a lot, and I think
I
when
read
you
a lot.
read a lot,
Hmm.
you do sort of
Yeah.
you're able to sort of understand the structures of
Yes.
stories and how to tell a good story. I think because
Yes.
you're sort of emulating, aren't you? And
Yes.
when you asked her, said my niece, maybe she's particularly a good storyteller. I think yes, but she's also a reader, so
Yes.
she understands the flow of stories, and
Yes.
I
Yeah,
think
and they go
that
hand in
contributes.
hand,
They
right? You
do.
talk to any publisher or any writing, tutor that you have to read, especially in the genre that you
Yes.
want to write in. You have to read a lot.
I think read
You,
outside your genre too,
yeah,
especially so, and
yeah,
make a commitment to it because
yes.
you'll pick up different things and you'll make your genre more interesting.
Hmm.
So I think, yeah, read as widely as you can. It's just so important. There you go. There's my top tip.
Love it.
The
It's
pretty
a very
basic one.
practical one. It's basic, but it's true. And you know what? I was at a Gold Coast Writers Centre meeting the other week, and Rowena Beresford from
Mhm.
Riveted Press was there, and she said the exact same thing. So she
Mhm.
was talking to everyone for about an hour about, and answering everyone's questions. Super practical, helpful tips. And again, she said that as well. And she said, don't be she's had people say, I don't want to read too much or too much in my genre because I don't want, my ideas or whatever to be infiltrated by other people's
Mm-hmm.
ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, but like she said, that's that's unlikely to happen. And you need to know what's out there. You need to know what's
Oh, of
happening
course.
now in the industry, not just so you improve your writing, because I definitely feel like if I've gone through a period of time where I haven't been able to read for whatever
Mm.
reason, um, I find it hard to get up the next morning. I just feel like it's all part of the process of the
Mm-hmm.
writing. Reading helps you write, and yeah, so she was definitely like it helps with your creativity, and also reading. In the genre that you're writing is also important. So if you're intending on getting it
Mm.
published, just so you know what else is out there, and of course it helps with comparative titles,
Of
which we've
course.
spoken about a few times. So yes, that's a very good tip. I
Yeah,
need to
and
try
it's
that.
interesting. I think you can, and depending on what stage you're at with your writing as well, I think certain books help you. For me, when I'm writing new words, I always seem to go to even their non-fiction books. So Helen Garner's diaries, which I just love.
Mm-hmm.
And if I feel like I'm stuck, I just go to her. And this Ali Parker, I think in a previous episode, was saying something similar. I feel like her language is just so clean and beautiful. It helps me
Mm-hmm.
reset.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
she's kind of that author for me where I can, and then they're not even fiction, they're not historical fiction. It's just something I can use. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's interesting. Do you have an author like that where you can just pick up something and it helps you reset?
Oh, not that I can think of at the moment, but I'm reading a book at the moment that, uh, do you always push through your books even if you're not enjoying it? Or do you put them down? Are you,
Oh,
it's too, life's
Tina.
too short, I have to put this book down and pick up something else? Or are you a push through because I've picked it up, now I have to keep going?
It's an interestingly timed question. I was talking to my husband about this very thing last week. Generally, I will push through and finish it. Um, although more and more, I have. I think if I've passed 50%, I'll push through.
Mm.
If in the first few chapters it's not grabbing me, I'm a do not finish, and
Ah,
that's new for me because I've always pushed through. What about
yeah.
you?
I'm a pusher through.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I Yes, I do. I think I feel guilty if I
Mm,
feel I
mm.
feel when I feel guilty, I'm like, I'm sorry, author, for putting this down. But I have already bought it, so and I've supported you there. But and two, um I feel like maybe it will change. Maybe it will get better.
Mm.
Um it's like I actually also don't like to pause songs in the middle of them either.
You got
I
to
just
finish
want
it.
it to finish and then I'll pause it.
That's so funny. Well,
Mm.
recently, I think I was at a point of putting down a book because, the things that there's something that really bugs me in some books is where there wouldn't be a story if everyone just had a conversation with characters, just had conversations with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
it's actually, this could be resolved. This issue could be resolved really
Oh, right.
simply
Yeah, when you can
if
see it
people
really
would
easily.
just, yeah. And it
Hmm.
felt that sort of feeling of when things are contrived, I think, and people are just not talking. And in reality, like if I hate it when it's not mirroring reality, people would just actually ask a question
Yes.
and say, hey,
Yes.
this is an issue, what do you think? And then there would be no story. So
Yes.
that
Yes.
that really is a big bugbear for me.
Yes.
Do you have
I
something?
Yeah, I agree, but I was just going to say on that, that's why I think historical fiction, and not just historical fiction, but I mean some may call it historical if it's set in the 90s, even like not like 1990,
Yes.
pre-mobile phone. So
Mm,
my thing is, and I get why a lot of stories are set back then, because kind of if you have a mobile phone, it's just like every single thing can be solved.
yeah.
You know, I had
Yes.
someone ask, with my books that's 11-year-olds, and they're like, well, wouldn't you just have a phone? And I'm like, well, no, because 11's too young for a phone, in my opinion. And I'm like, but then where's the fun in that? You can never get stuck and have to find your own way out. You're never, yeah, without, a source of contact to get in contact to
Hmm.
someone who can then come and help you. You never have an answer to like a question that's gone unanswered because you can just Google it.
Hmm.
It kind of, so I guess sometimes maybe writing for kids where that's just
Yeah.
before mobile phones is also, a good thing.
Yeah.
Like setting something pre-mobile.
Or deliberately just having something that removes that way of contacting for sure. But it's
Yeah.
when they have that opportunity to, they have a device, they can go and do
Mm.
it. You're like, but why
Yeah.
wouldn't they? So you
Yeah. So then you have
just
to put it in there. But I was actually watching a show the other day and I was like, hang on, these guys they're on their phones all the time. How come in this particular moment they've chosen not to use their phone to
yeah.
like tell everybody that there's this bad thing happening and don't come here? So then the drama is, oh, how do I stop everyone coming here?
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
feels a little bit forced or
And
fake
that draws you
because
out because then you start
it
going, hang on, why
does.
are they not doing that? And that's what
Yeah.
happens with me. And as soon as that happens, I just lose it, unfortunately. It's
Mm,
pretty hard to get me back in if there's some. I think I really like logic, in a story. And if something feels very illogical or contrived, I
yeah.
go, oh. So,
Yes. Yeah.
interesting. Now, we did have a topic, weren't we, that we were going to discuss today
Yes. Yes. We were going to
when
talk
we feel
about,
ready to submit
yeah,
your
knowing
manuscript.
when to
Mm,
submit
mm,
because you could tinker, or you could, there's a couple of things you can do that people do
mm.
is submit way too
Yes.
early,
Yes.
or submit, or just take forever tinkering that you never ever submit it.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's the yeah, that the golden moment of sending it in? Is there one? How polished does it need to be?
Mm.
I don't know. When did you know, Madeline, when to start sending your manuscript off?
Yeah, it's a really interesting one. So, with the butterfly women, I had done about 11 or 12 read-throughs by the
Hmm.
time I felt ready. And so that's 11 and 12
Yes,
edits.
I was going to say. So you're
Um,
changing things each
oh,
time
yes.
and then having another read through. Yeah, okay.
Yes. And I felt so that took a few months to do.
Hmm.
Uh, I think I think that was good. It was in pretty good polished shape. I also did a lot of the audio listen throughs as well. So
Hmm.
I had, that read through. It helped me reading aloud. So I did one of those edits as well, just to pick up anything. I wanted it to be in the best possible state with
Hmm.
very, very minimal errors.
Hmm.
And so I was probably a bit perfectionist, but I think because when you're a debut first time submitting, getting it into that best publishable standard is really
Hmm.
important. If there's a series of errors, grammatical errors in the first chapter,
Hmm.
then what publisher is going to continue and read on? So I
Hmm.
made it really clear. I didn't probably change too much of the structure of it. I was just making it
Mm.
really tight
Yep.
at that point because I couldn't see any structural issues at that point. I hadn't been through a structural edit. I think going into the next one, I can sort of, I think I can approach this a bit more differently with structure. So I kind of understand now what it means because I had no real parts, and Ruby's like, oh, it's helpful if you put it into part 1, 2, and 3, and then you can see sort of, the different
Mm.
arcs in those parts. I was like, oh, that's
Ah,
interesting. I didn't really think about it like that.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I was really exhausted by the end. When I feel exhausted by it, when I'm so tired, I've been editing for so long, then I feel like I'm ready. But interestingly, yeah, for the second book, I probably didn't do as many read throughs or edits, but at least five, I think,
Mm.
and I got a couple of readers. Oh, the other thing as well, I get people to read it, people
Hmm.
trusted people to read it as well, and I'll incorporate their advice. So that's separate to the edits. I'll do that after I have done maybe 2 or 3 read throughs and edits, send it off to some people, wait for their feedback, incorporate that in, and then do the subsequent 11 edits. So it's a lot. I think that's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a lot. But I agree with you, Madeline, that, and I couldn't even tell you how many I did
Mm,
either on
mm,
any of the stuff that I worked on, and so um, it's a lot. But I definitely agree that when you are a debut or you're an unknown, so you're an
mhm,
emerging author, and um, that the publishers don't know you at all, and
mhm,
they have hundreds of manuscripts coming over their desk probably every week. You need to stand out.
mhm,
You really do. And so having even if it just looks or appears as they're reading through it like it's polished, like you're someone who takes it seriously,
Hmm.
like everyone, there's always going to be typos.
Of
There's
course,
just
of
always going to be
course.
typos. There's going to be typos in the books that are actually
Hmm.
published
Hmm.
because you just can't see anymore. Um, but it does, as less as possible. And they're not going to not sign someone on a couple of typos.
No, no.
But there's so much more that doing 12 read throughs will show you and pick up and like you said, just make it really tight.
Hmm.
And that is really important. But yeah, it is a bit of a tricky one, isn't it? Because it's hard to advise, I suppose, on it. Also because you know so many people that have, like you said, you're doing those edits after you're happy with the structure.
Hmm.
And there's
Hmm.
so many people who send it away and then are signed, but their structure is quite hugely changed by
Well,
the
that's me.
publisher.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You
So
break it and you have to rewrite. So all those words that you've
yeah,
painstakingly spent months editing, you
yes.
delete. Yes.
Yes. So
Hmm.
So you'd have to imagine there's only so much you can do. And I believe with the structure, what you have in your mind is it is hard for you to see outside of that once you're comfortable
Hmm.
with it.
Hmm.
But clearly then it's gone to the publisher, they've gone, we can see she can write, we can see she's clean and she's taking this seriously. And it's as tight as possible, but we're still taking it on, even though we feel like there's some, you're saying big structural changes. I don't, I don't know. Like for some people, they have to change the full ending of their stories,
Yeah,
or a lot of things, but they love the premise. Um, so it's hard to say it. You need to make sure everything is 100% perfect when a lot of it can be
that's right.
changed when
No,
it
you're
gets
so
to,
right, Tina.
you
You
know.
are. And so, I mean, I had major structural changes in mind because, and a firm never pushed me to do it. They said, you can go down the hard path, which will make it better, or you can go down the easy path, which will be less change, might not be as good. And so I chose the hard path, of course, as everyone would do.
Hmm.
You want your work to be the best
Yeah.
it can be. Yeah, I think maybe that's why for this second book, I did less read throughs. I
Mhm.
was less fastidious because I just knew things are going to change about the book.
Mhm. Mhm.
I've probably deleted 30,000 words of at least of the old draft, the first draft. I call that the first draft, the one that a firm signed. And you know, those are words that you have agonized over. And so is it worthwhile agonizing over words when, yeah, make it as clean as you can.
Mhm.
It's not going to be perfect, like you
Mhm.
said, but just know in the back of your mind that this might all go in the bin. And
Yes.
I don't see it as going in the bin. I see it as part of forming the story. And
100%.
yeah,
It is.
how,
It's
did
the
you find
pathway to
that?
get there.
How's your
Yeah.
experience
Um,
with maybe
so
approaching submission time? Like when did you feel
yes.
ready?
Well, I never really submitted to
Oh,
any
that's right. You
publishers. I
didn't. You're
I
special,
entered
Tina.
to it. No, no, no. I mean, I still had to do all the things,
Yes.
but I submitted to a competition, which I know
Hmm.
now, when it's a competition where you have a publisher judging it, you are still submitting. Like you are
Yes.
sending it with, and you're putting yourself out there, and that publisher may be someone you want to publish with in the future. And you still, and especially with that manuscript, you only get one chance with that publisher with that one manuscript. And look, I know people can go and change things heavily and send them back. I think it very rarely happens
Hmm.
that they, want to read something that they've already seen, even if it's hugely changed. I mean, I can't speak for them, but that's what I've heard them say, a couple of publishers say. But um, so I submitted to a competition very I was very green and it wasn't even my intent really to do that. I just stumbled across this competition and entered it.
Which one was it,
That
Tina?
was the CYA
Ah,
conference,
yes,
which
yeah.
everyone hears me talk about because I love it very much. And it's a very important conference for children and yeah, children's authors, and they have an adult section now as well. So, and you don't know who the judges are either, so they
Mm,
don't tell you that. So, and I couldn't in my wildest dreams have imagined it was someone from HarperCollins. I was
mm,
so new to the whole thing. I know I'd always been writing, like it's just what I was doing. So, but before I sent that, which is essentially pitching to a publisher, which I didn't realize at the time, I think I had been working on it probably, for a year or so. And I was just at that stage where I was just, changing commas and,
Mm.
sentences and splitting a paragraph and, all
Hmm.
that sort of, noodling about. And yeah, so I think when I saw this competition, I was like, oh, maybe that's what I need. Like, what do I do
Hmm.
with it now? Like, I've got this manuscript. Maybe I just find out if it's any good by sending it to this competition. So, so yeah, I mean that one wasn't signed, so
Mm-hmm. You never
it's
considered slush piles? Did you know that?
no, I never. I being
Never.
published
Okay.
was so far like just a dream. No, it wasn't even a dream because I didn't even think that it would be possible. So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even dream about it, And I'd written forever, I just did it all
Mm-hmm.
the time. It was just something that I did. But again, I think they see the premise and they
Mm-hmm.
see what you're like as an author and as a person to work with, and all of that's taken into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
It's the
yeah,
whole
it
package,
is
isn't it,
hard.
that they're looking
Yeah,
for, I think. Yes.
yeah.
So you've got to try
Because
and strike that balance. That's what it sounds like.
yes, I think I guess overarchingly, it's just try and do the best you can. Try
Mm-hmm.
and perfect the easier stuff that's in your control, which is the editing, the
Mm-hmm.
typos, the making it look professional. Your structure, if that's not what they're looking for, which is often, it's still probably going to be a very good story, but the publisher, I don't know, maybe one of the big reasons why there's structural edits is because they they see another way that they would like it
Mm-hmm.
to be
Mm-hmm.
because of various things. Maybe it's a market, or maybe it's a gap that they need filled, or whatever. You can't control that. You don't, because you don't know what
Mm-hmm.
they're thinking. So all you can do is go, I'm 100% happy with this structure. Obviously, if
Mm-hmm.
you think there's something's not right, definitely don't send it. Keep working on that until you fix that thing that's not right,
Mm-hmm.
even if it feels impossible, because you would always find a way
Yeah.
eventually
Yeah.
to fix it so that you're happy with it. And then the typos that you're happy with, and put that forward. But yeah, don't waste time with tinkering around with commas and stuff
No,
for
no.
too
And
long.
maybe a good strategy to test and see if there's if it's right and ready is just to
Hmm.
submit to maybe a couple of
Yes,
competitions,
yes.
or submit to a couple of publishers or agents, not everybody all at
Mm,
once,
mm.
because
Definitely not everybody all at once.
that's
That's a
right.
big tip. That's top tip for today as well.
Yes,
Don't
not
send
everyone
it
all
to
at once.
everybody all at once. Definitely not. And I know it's a long time, right? Isn't it? Because a lot of them say if you
Mm,
don't hear anything in 3 months after you've submitted, then you can expect that it's a no. So if you
hmm.
send it to one and you want to wait for them, that's you can't send it to anywhere else for another 3 months, really. I mean, you can, but if they then come back and go, there's this, and this wrong, and you're lucky enough to get some feedback,
Mm.
then you've already kind of blown that chance with the other publishers
That's
that you've
right.
sent it
Or
to.
if it's just a rejection and no
Mm.
feedback,
Yeah.
maybe there's something that you can continue working on. Maybe you can send it out to get a manuscript assessment to see, it does involve financial costs, but there are
Mm.
other services that you can do as well. There's lots of things in the ASA as well to help
Mm-hmm.
the Australian Society of
Mm-hmm.
Authors. But I think, yeah, testing the market is really important initially. That's something I didn't know really about, and something subsequently I've learned. And I think after our conversation with Samuel Bernard as well, our literary agent episode, he sort of said that you do often only get that one chance. If you get a second chance, you're very lucky. It means
Mm.
that they've shown interest in parts of the work, but you
Mm-hmm.
often only do get the one.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that I've learned too, which I didn't really think about back then, is that sending it off to agents is actually a good way to test it,
Mm.
because at least then you haven't blown your chance with publishers. So you can test it with agents. If no
Yes.
one's biting, then you can send it out to publishers. You've
Yes.
got
And
double chance there.
I wonder, do you think agents might be more open to seeing your work, seeing who you are, and going like, I think I can work with this person.
Mm,
This is what I feel is being sought after in the industry at the moment. So how about, here's some suggestions. Can you write something along those lines and
that's right.
submit? Or and you haven't, yeah, blown your chances with them. They can
That's
give you
right.
some guidance, can't they?
And I think if people are listening to this and thinking, oh, but there's such long waiting times in the publishing industry. I really want to get my book out as soon as possible because I think I
Mm,
want to, reach it. yeah, publishing is such a slow industry.
Yeah.
Don't expect anything out for years and years. So there's always going to be super long lead times in publishing. I mean, Tina, you've been waiting for a couple of
Yes,
years, haven't you,
I
since
have.
signing, or
And
even more?
that's another really good tip. I don't know if I've done this one before. I'm doing a double tip episode. Um, Patience.
Yes, yes.
It's very hard. I'm not super skilled at having patience, but I've definitely realized, I mean, you have to have patience because this industry is quite, slow, but there's reason for it. Now
Mm-hmm.
that we're in it, Madeline, I don't know about you, but I
Yes,
see why. Absolutely
yes,
see why. With all
yes.
the people that work on it and the teams that work on it, the work that goes into the books coming out, absolutely makes sense.
That's
100%
right.
that it takes that long. But patience in, when you're not even there yet and you haven't even signed is really hard. But, I guess you just have to, the time is passing anyway, right? You might as well just
Mm-hmm.
submit, see how it goes, start something else, work on building your career, work on, getting out there and making contacts because it's all useful.
Starting a podcast,
Start a
maybe.
podcast. That might be me being impatient actually, because I'm like, oh, what else can I do? But yeah, patience is really big, and I've learned that recently, even just with what I should start writing and
Mm.
work on next, and having all these ideas and wanting to get them all out on the page, and just really having to take a step back and go, no, you just actually need patience, and you just need to relax, and things will happen when they happen, and you
Exactly.
can only
That's
do so
yes.
much.
I feel like I've learned that in the last year. That's
Yeah.
been my learning lesson last year. And I have been so grateful for the time as well that I've had between signing and publishing the novel. I feel like I've grown more. If it was a
Mm.
shorter time frame, I
Yes.
think I would have probably struggled, but this has been really, really helpful for me to build connections, like you said, and do some different things for your career. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah. Yeah,
uh,
when you sign that contract and it says, release date 2025, and you're just like, wow, that is never going to happen. There is one really good way that you can help authors, which a lot of people don't realize and it's by pre-ordering
mhm.
someone's book, because all the pre-orders before that date go towards the first week of sales. That's right, isn't it, Madeline?
Exactly,
You're the bookseller,
exactly,
which
exactly.
is super important. And your first week of sales is hugely important to.
But not only the first week of sales as well, Tina, it actually tells the bookshop that, oh, there's a bit of interest in this book. So,
Yeah.
say 5 people have pre-ordered it,
Hmm.
maybe we'll order an extra 5 copies for the shelf as well. So that way they're sort of
Yes.
doubling it. So
Yeah.
they're doing
Okay.
those extra orders. They're
Of
not just
course.
ordering the stock for pre-orders, they're
Yes.
ordering additional for the floor as well.
Yes. Okay. All right. Inside tips there, everybody. So
Mhm.
yeah. So whenever you see someone's book up for pre-order, it's hugely important for them. If you're interested in purchasing it, give it a pre-order. That's always definitely beneficial. I was so excited about supporting the Debut Crew 2025 sorry, 2024. I'm sure I'm going to do the same with 2025,
Mhm.
but the Debut Crew 2024, I got so excited about supporting them that sometimes I multiple ordered pre-ordered books. Or I'd pre-order books and then see them on the shelf. And before I'd get the book, I'd be like super excited to buy it. And then it would come in the mail like a couple of days later, the same one. But that's been good for gifting. Well, should we leave it there, Madeline?
I think that's enough. Yeah,
Um,
we've spoken enough.
we did. We also did have an agenda as well, and of course, I think we only touched on one point, but that's okay. It was a great. It was a great chat.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Book Deal podcast. Please like, follow, or share this episode so we can encourage more aspiring authors.
And if you have a question you'd like us to answer or ask our guests, please find us on Instagram at The Book Deal or email us at thebookdeal@outlook.com.